This episode is brought to you in association with Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis. By Total Performance Data, the world leader in thoroughbred performance technology, and by Fitzdares. Good morning, welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, June the 18th. Thanks for listening once again. Or if you are watching us on YouTube, a warm welcome, and you can see what I can see, which is a perfect Royal Ascot ahead of day two. I think it's even warmer than it was at this time yesterday. The track has been prepared. They put 5 mils of water down. We'll hear from Chris Stickles in a minute. A cloudless sky, Matt Chapman alongside. What more could I ask for?
Well, to be honest, the only person who was willing to come and be here in the early hours of the morning with you, Nicholas. But it is a pleasure. I'm particularly liking these rockets at the end of the home straight.
I don't know if Josh can pick those up.
Yeah, I'm sure he can.
What are they?
Well, I thought they were hot air balloons, but I like those anyway. It makes you kind of feel that you might be in Tomorrowland or something like that. But they're really good.
They're very pretty, aren't they?
Yeah. I kind of think they ought to have a Nick Luck rocket.
What, and send it into space?
Well, anywhere, to be honest.
The Rockets yesterday,
yes,
Matthew, was Field of Gold.
Yes.
And after heartwarming triumphs for Jim Goldie and Harry Eustace and the OTI Syndicate and Mark Zahra in the first, we got a performance of sublime quality from Field of Gold, didn't we?
We did. He's absolute standout, isn't he, Field of Gold at the moment. And for me, 2 times this season, he's had a proper gallop to run at, in the Craven and in the St James's Palace yesterday. And on those 2 occasions, we saw what he's really capable of. He's destroyed them for pace. So much so, of course, that you start thinking, hold on, the original plan was the Eclipse. That seems to have been shelved now, and we're going Sussex Stakes Jubbon International, which
John
is obvious.
Gosden doesn't want it now, does he? He fancied the Eclipse. Barry Marn, I interviewed him right after the Irish Guineas, and he said, we'll run the St James's Palace and the Eclipse. Clearly the trainer's not so keen, as he says he's earned a break.
Well, I think there are 2 points here. The first point is, thank goodness he's running. I mean, he's run 4 times. They're going to run at least 2 more. We've got 5, 6, and hopefully something at the end of the season. I did just put it to Gozza yesterday, if he was to run in the July Cup, would he be totally disgraced the way he's travelling these days off those strong gallops? And obviously he did this sort of jovial thing of, you're saying I've gone in on the wrong trip, are you? And obviously that wasn't the question. But the great thing about Field of Gold, for those of us who love Jubbon and the breeding operation for its longevity, is the fact you go back in the pedigree and you've got Oasis Dream, but you also go back to Dancing Brave in that pedigree. So all the Jubbon sort of stars are in there somewhere. But it's a mixture of sort of 6 furlong to a mile and a half, effectively. But yeah, look, he was thoroughly dominant.
Colin Keane, great start for him in the job.
It was sensational.
I love the way he slipped inside.
He did.
He slipped inside the pacemaker turning for home. A lot of inferior jockeys would have gone, play it safe, go outside, swing 7 wide. I love that. And then the horse took him and he had to commit.
Yeah, and everyone, Josh here, who's holding the camera so well, who's really good at this now. He's looking on with a little wry smile, because I know you've tried to tease me into saying something there, because that's what you are. You're a teaser.
I'm not. I just thought it was. I just thought that showed. That's
why your cult in America loves you so much.
That showed the smarts of a jockey who has got time, confidence, soft hands.
But there's 2 sides to this. Firstly, everything you're saying is right, and Colin Keane is a class act and doesn't get flustered and just gets on with it. But secondly, of course, very much helped by the fact that Ruling Court was not the Ruling Court we saw in the 2000 Guineas.
True.
Very much helped by the fact Henri Matisse was behind and racing to pounce. And so everything opened up as it should, because he's a much better horse than Rashabar, effectively. But yes, faultless from Colin Keane on what is turning out to be a faultless horse. Everyone, look, we were asked yesterday on ITV, which is the one horse that everyone's looking forward to this week, and whatever you fancies you have and whatever horses you have soft spots for, there's no doubt that the box office horse this week, Nicholas, was Field of Gold.
And he's delivered, and that really has kind of just got the momentum rolling for the week. Now, what about the ride of yesterday? Well, there'll be I'll ask you for your opinion in just a moment.
Yes,
but first of all, we're going to hear from Adam Mills from Total Performance Data, because he would like to single out one particular ride for praise.
What a start at Royal Ascot. The Queen Anne Stakes won by Docklands. A winning time of 1:41.39 was actually 1.5 seconds slower than the TPT expected time. To give you some context for how slowly they went, in the second furlong the entire field was slower than 13 seconds. Last year's race, won by Charing, the entire field were quicker than 12 seconds over the same period. They're around 10 to 12 lengths behind Charing at the end of the first quarter of a mile. It develops into a sprint, but we have to heap an enormous amount of praise on Mark Zahra on Docklands. He produced 11.22 seconds for the 7th furlong. That's the fastest in the race. But his mount had the longest stride in the race. If he doesn't go at the point he does on Docklands, he probably gets done for speed in a sprint finish. Lengthens away and wins. Records a better run-out speed than Rosallian. So those thinking Rosallian's unlucky, yes, he's finishing fast, but Docklands stayed on and ran through the line just as well. There's no guarantee that Rosallian was certain to have won with a different ride. As for those in behind, we all saw how unlucky Notable Speech was. Doesn't get the room. His race stride frequency reaches its peak. 2.56 per second is an average in the final furlong. He just simply couldn't quicken and he's won for another day. But if he's won for another day, so's Lake Forest. Raced in last, presumably because they were a bit concerned about whether he'd stay the mile at Group 1 level. But he tracks the wrong horses. First, as he's making his challenge, he tracks Coudoir. Coudoir's stride frequency and speed is dropping. Then he switches and tracks the American horse Carl Spackler. His stride frequency and speed is dropping at the same time. Lake Forest had the best run-out speed in the field at 36.04 miles an hour. Because we had a finishing speed of 110%, this doesn't guarantee that he stays the mile, but it does guarantee that he has another go at Group 1 company.
Thank you, Adam. So plaudits for Mark Zahra. He might have dropped his whip, but it's what he did from the 2-pole to the line that Adam believes won him the race. Hard not to feel pleased for the connections of Docklands, who've had a go everywhere around the world. What did you make of the finish? What did you make of Rosallian?
I thought as a whole the race was pants. It was a joke race, really.
No pace.
No pace. The angle into why this was exceptional on Docklands is an interesting one. Doesn't really explain why Lead Artist and Dancing Gemini fell out the TV screen.
I think that is explicable, surely, not just because of a weird pace scenario and not just because the track at Ascot can be a little bit of a law unto itself at times, but I think they've both bounced to the moon off the lock-inch, haven't they? Lead Artist and Dancing Gemini. I don't think Dancing Gemini wants a view of the front like that. I accept the fact he didn't have much choice, but I don't think it is a sort of upside-down race for him. And I think Lead Artist bounced.
The thing, let's cover those. Firstly, as you say, with Dancing Gemini, you've got a horse who a furlong out in the Derby was still right in the mix to getting a place. He, off a slow gallop, if you'd held him up last, I don't think he would have got anywhere near the leaders. Lead Artist, has he bounced? I don't see any reason why he should have bounced. He's never been some sort of fragile horse in the back.
Even you can have an off day.
But no, I just think that the lock-inch, not for the first time in recent years, because of course it was a ridiculous race last year with Audience and Inspiral, etc. That race is a mixture of being a prep and a Group 1, and when you get all that mixture together, I think you end up with a very weird result.
I don't like straight mile races anyway. I'd run them all round the bend, but that's another one. That's an argument for another day.
Why would you do that?
Well, I don't think it's great for I don't think straight mile races are great for the crowd.
Okay.
Because they're like specs in the.
So the 2,000 guineas and the 1,000 guineas, you would destroy the history of the sport.
No.
And you'd send them.
You've got no choice there, obviously. But I think if you have got a choice,
you just said you wouldn't have any 1 mile.
I don't love them. If I was going to design the sport from scratch again,
right.
I wouldn't have horses running straight at you from.
Even the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas.
No, if I was designing the sports from scratch again, but that's an if and whatever.
So would you have the Derby at Windsor, say, or something like? You wouldn't have the Derby at Epsom either?
No, I think the Epsom's fine. I have no problem with undulations.
Right. Okay. Bends is the thing you like. Bends.
Bends tends to.
People have been saying for ages you've gone round the bend.
Well, I probably have gone round the bend. I have gone round the bend. We are going to take a nice, refreshing pause now.
Are we?
Yeah,
we
are.
Pims or something?
We are. No, because we have our official milliner to the Nick Luck Daily podcast, the great Lisa Tan, and she was out and about for us yesterday.
Starting Royal Ascot 2025 with a bang, and two of the most stylish women on course, perennially stylish.
After you, obviously.
Oh, well, thank you. Should we say three of the most stylish women on course?
Let's go 3.
Francesca Kamani from ITV and her stylist extraordinaire, Sarah Kate Byrne. Great to see you both here again.
And you, although you're wrong about the stylish bit, because she's the stylish one, I honestly am a jeans and a t-shirt, super scruffy. But come the big race days, I managed to lower this thanks to Sarah. I'm working with diamonds, you know. It's fine. But yes, we put a lot of thought into this. Jessica hasn't tried it on until Sunday. Sunday. Yeah.
Is it because of the weather forecast, or you just have options?
I found it by accident. It's Carolina Herrera, and basically they were in touch. I was in touch with them, and they arranged for me to pick it up, and I brought it down on Saturday, and I knew the colour and whatever. I call this Justine Bradley Hill hat. She's a Yorkshire woman. Jessica lives in Yorkshire, like that. And it worked, and it was great, and I think it's good colour.
Wait, let's not forget the jewels, because they're pretty special. Look at them.
Dripping.
And we also need to talk about your badge.
That is cool, isn't it? So
It's really cool.
It's a regular badge like yours, but it's got
It
this
is not a regular
holder.
badge,
Well,
yeah.
no. It's been enhanced by this Alison Quaid badge holder, which is really unique. Have you seen one of these before?
I've never seen one, and I think it's such a brilliant idea.
Isn't it great? Although I wondered if they should make a version without the diamonds for the men. Although I saw Nick earlier and he was like, no way, I would wear that.
Absolutely,
So,
loves a bit of
why
bling.
not? Yeah, it's been much admired already today.
It's fantastic. And Sarah, let's talk about your outfit as well. Hot pink, love it.
Well, it's vintage. House Breeze from one of my favourite vintage shops called Emma Caderney, and insulting to all the wonderful milliners I work with, I couldn't quite find the right hat, and I've had this for about 20 years, so I sewed the trimmings on. They're Vivi Rouleau trimmings. I went into the shop and went, I'll have those, and Annabelle asked me what I was going to do with them. I was like, you shall see. And I sewed them on yesterday in about 3 minutes.
For anyone who doesn't know, Sarah likes to make life hard for herself. And she's always busy making sure everyone else looks amazing, has got everything they need. But she throws together these outfits at the last minute, makes it herself, loves a lot of vintage and sustainable fashion, but she obviously always looks amazing.
Oh, she absolutely does, and so do you. And
Takes one to know one.
wow, thank you very much. Thank you. Before we go, let's get a racing tip and a fashion tip from both of you. Well,
I think if we're going today, I think Field of Gold is a very obvious tip in the St James's Palace. I'm really looking forward to hopefully him stamping his authority on the field and living up to his billing as a really exceptional horse.
I'm going to steal Cheska's because I've had to deploy it twice already. Talcum powder your shoes, gals.
It's a really unsexy fashion
And
tip.
basically, I actually got stopped by Georgia Toffolo on the way, and she was like, babe, your talc is on your shoes, which looks like another substance. I was like, okay, no talc, but I honestly, it is.
Stops them
Jessica told me
sticking and
this,
rubbing and getting sore,
and
it
absorbs
saves
the
the feet.
We don't sweat, we glow, but it absorbs the glow. So that's
It is a very, very wise tip, and I think one that everyone can use this Royal Ascot with the forecast. Thank you very much, and have a fantastic meeting.
Well, thank you to Lisa, and we'll be hearing from her a little bit later in the show. Matt Chapman is back with me.
Who's your tailor?
My tailor?
Yeah.
Richard Wainwright is my tailor.
Is he?
McAngus and Wainwright, the company's called now, but he's been doing bits and pieces for me.
Do you get it free or just discount?
No, I don't get it free. I don't think I get a discount either, particularly. I mean, I've been paying him.
If you're not, you should go to another tailor, to be quite frank. I mean, because people would
I'm
be
not taking-
only too
I'm not gonna take-
little stain there, to be honest.
Josh, can you just look at these? I'm going to get. I don't. When I interviewed the CEO the other day, I should have asked her whether two-tone shoes were acceptable in the royal enclosure.
I watched Godfather
Some,
2 the other day.
Some 50s teddy boy, absolutely ridiculous.
No, I watched the
And as
Godfather
for a
movies.
man
And I
who-
just thought, it's time that these were brought back in.
And as a man who turns up to the races looking like Ted Bovis off Heidi High most of the time, I'm not taking
Speaking
any
of
abuse from
shoes,
you.
Josh, can you just point down here? It's a long time since those had a polish,
Well,
isn't
they
it?
just got a little dusty yesterday.
a little dusty.
They got a little dusty.
Was that in the car park afterwards?
Right,
Yeah.
back on point. Back on point,
Okay.
Mr. Chapman.
Okay.
And yesterday, and other highlights. Let's spin through this quickly because we got a lot to get in. Stade, first of all. Aidan O'Brien obviously thinks he's nowhere near as good as Albert Einstein, even though he bolted up in what I thought was a bad Coventry.
Yes, that was the line that I enjoyed most that I got out of Aidan yesterday, to be honest. I didn't have any magic yesterday, particularly as far as interviews were concerned. There was nothing that you could really say at the end of the day, yeah, I love that. But the line on Albert Einstein was good from Aidan, who, there was a bit of City of Troy chat again here from the point of view, he said, we've never had a horse do anything like Albert's done before at home.
Yeah.
But on paper, Gestard is a good horse and he looked good, but Albert's clearly different gravy.
Right, I'm just going to slot in here because after the race, Luca Brooks-Edwards, who's working with us from the Racing Media Academy, he was in close proximity to Aidan in the press huddle, and he asked him a question about the filly True Love, who runs in the Queen Mary today. And
be favourite.
Yeah, and this is what he had to say about her relative to Stad.
We always loved True Love. She got beat twice, and he beat her the last day, and Wayne felt that he shouldn't have beat her. You know.
So there you are. Wayne Lorden thought he should have beaten Stad on True Love.
Yeah.
So does she just go and win?
Which possibly, but it kind of backs up the fact that Albert Einstein might be in a different league to all of these. The 2-year-old race is notoriously difficult. I'm sure you stand in the odd box before racing, giving your thoughts. Well, of course you do.
I don't.
Of course you do.
I don't.
Of course, don't. The viewer, the listeners are not going to be fooled by this.
I've got too much to do to be walking around doing brown envelopes.
What? Brown envelope box luck. I'm not having any of that. But anyway,
don't judge everyone by your standards. I've got to keep you honest here because we got lots to get through. I think we've done that.
2-year-old races are tough. You never quite know what you've got. You've got such a mishmash of horses. Like, for instance, we're going to talk about the Queen Mary today. I mean, Spicy Marg comes into this on the back of beating 3 horses.
Yeah.
But I thought Gestard looked quite good, to be honest. If Albert Einstein really is miles better, he is really good.
Yeah, well, it might just be that Gestard is the one for this season. Right, let's talk about one or two of the other races from yesterday. Thought French Master was very good.
Yeah, he looked like a different horse, didn't he?
9 wide.
Yeah.
Not making James Dawes' life easy.
Yeah, and there was a really nice part of that victory. Obviously, Coops, our friend of the show, Philippa Cooper, sold that horse to Wathnan. But as part of the contract, she put in that once his racing days are finished, that French Master will go back to her and be looked after her. And I thought that was in these days where we are genuinely trying to tell people that we care about horses, obviously we do, Nick, but not everyone believes we do. I thought that was probably the nicest touch of anything that happened yesterday. I really enjoyed the fact that Coops is doing that. Well, and of course she may win the Gold Cup
could
tomorrow.
win the Gold Cup with Sweet William. Yeah. I don't see it, but...
Well, I'm told the stable just think Trawlerman will destroy him, and there's a theme now where John Gosden is telling us all he doesn't stay really Sweet William beyond 2 1/4 miles. It's almost as if he's decided Sweet William won't win the Ascot Gold Cup. But I think a lot of people are backing Trawlerman each way, and a lot of people are backing Sweet William each way. Of those two, I'd rather back Sweet William each way than Trawlerman.
Okay, well, Philippa will be very pleased to hear you say that. She's obviously, a regular listener to the show. She's what?
Such a dish.
Please, we need to move on.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm sure she'll be chuffed. Let's head out and hear a bit more from Lisa.
We're here with the new Ascot presenter for fashion, Ellie Evelyn. Welcome to Ascot, firstly.
Thank you so
I hear that you have been here a few times, though, before.
I have. It's usually a bit blurry, but I'm working today, so strictly water, and I'm having the best time. But yeah, so I've been a few times just as a guest, but now I'm finally here working. I'm so excited presenting.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell me, planning outfits for the week must be a bit of a different experience as coming as a guest.
It is. I have to say, I'm usually with this kind of thing, I do actually last minute plan, but this time I got an amazing stylist called Becky, and we kind of wanted to go a bit. This is inspired by Princess Diana.
I was going to say, surely Princess Diana inspired it. It's beautiful and surely vintage in some parts.
It is. So the top is vintage, and then the skirt. I've got the names right here because I do forget. Mika Hone. Skirt is Mika Hone. Yeah. Top is vintage from Etsy, and then the hat is Jane Taylor, and then the earrings are Kiki McDonough.
It's stunning, and I love an Etsy find as well. It's so great.
So good, isn't it? Yeah, it was absolutely massive, and we got it tailored, sucked right in, and so it fits very well now.
Yes. What are you expecting for the week? What are your hopes? What are your predictions?
I am just so obsessed with the outfit watching. I mean, the outfit watching, the hat looking. I can't wait to see what everyone's wearing. It's just such a fabulous week. Everyone's in such a good mood. You're meeting so many people. It is so full on. People, whenever they say, "Is it quite calm?" I'm like, no. It is full on. At the end of the day, even though you're probably exhausted, the adrenaline, you just kind of want to keep on going. You're like, I don't want to go to sleep. It's too much fun. So yeah,
absolutely. The sore feet are nothing by the end of the week. You're just walking on clouds.
Literally, but I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing week.
Do you have a fashion tip of how to stay the distance when it comes to Royal Ascot?
Follow the rules. I'd say follow the rules because you don't want to turn up and they turn you away. Follow the rules, but have fun. Be outgoing. I'm not very colourful usually, but this week, not today really, but in this week I'm doing a lot of colour. Be bold. I think it's a chance to kind of have fun, show your personality with your outfits.
Thanks, Lisa. We'll be back with her in a few moments' time. Matt is still with me. Let's take a canter through day 2, if we can.
Yeah.
First race.
Queen Mary.
Yep, what do you like?
Well, I'm going with Spicy Mark, the aforementioned.
For Banksy.
Well, it's the Lady Beaufort crew from yesteryear.
You're very predictable.
I am, but the figures of the...
Who rides Spicy Mark?
I'd have to double check.
Who rides
Just lacking
Spicy
a bit
Mark,
of... Oh, it's the shoe.
Kieran Schumacher.
Do you not like Schumacher, do you? You've got a thing for him.
I really like
You
him.
don't. Why don't you just admit
He's
it
an
to everyone?
extremely nice man and a fine jockey.
Well, it's not what you say off air, so you've got to be more genuine when you come on the show.
Right, put your wooden spoon away. Spicy
Yeah,
Mark.
Ding
I'm
Dong.
going- right,
Trained
fine.
some good 2-year-olds in
Michael
his time.
Bell,
The
yeah.
times of her win were
Fine.
good. She beat quite
Yeah.
a promising Godolphin horse at Newmarket. And more importantly, it would be great for Banksy, wouldn't it?
It would be lovely for Emma Banks. I agree. I've gone for Society Kiss for Rafe Beckett, not somebody you'd
Oh,
associate
Ray Beckett. I mean, if I was predictable,
All right, fine.
Your
Next.
speed
Next.
dial buddy, yeah.
On we go.
Yeah, because I'm having to tell Nick the order of the races today because
Queen's Vase is next,
Nick
3
has
5.
no phone reception. All you got to do is pay the bill.
Queen's
Vase. Very hard to predict, but I thought Karma's, who's won twice over 1 mile and 5 already, would at least stay. Whether he's good enough, only time will tell. Karma's, which is something we need on this show.
We do. I have gone for. You can guess what I've gone for.
No, I can't. Reading your brain is you don't even know yourself, do you?
I know exactly.
Do you want me to
what
go
I've
back?
gone for.
And,
Yeah, no, I know
okay, here we
exactly
go.
what I've gone for. You'll know exactly. Yeah, there we
Shackleton?
are. Asmarani.
Oh, Asma. Oh.
Francis Grafford.
Oh, yes.
Friend of the show.
Oh, dear. It's a pity that you know how trainers team up with their sons
Yeah.
and offspring now. It's really pity that Rafe Beckett and Francis Henri Graffard don't team up together. And then you could sort of wake up in a hot
Where are you
sweat every
going with
day.
this?
Well,
Right.
you'd just be so
Next.
happy.
Next.
340. It's the Duke of Cambridge. Cinderella's
Bonnie's
Dream,
way
of course, has been brilliant at the Breeders' Cup in the past. Everyone's been saying Fallen Angels, great value. I'm not quite seeing that myself. I think the value here is Imalka, who I think will get a strong gallop to run at. And I don't know about you, Nick.
Yeah, I can see
On
that.
a serious note, I really believe that Roger Varian thinks we've never quite seen the best of this horse since her 1,000 guineas victory.
I can
I'm happy
see
to
that.
play her. She's 14-1. She's too good for a 14-1 shot.
Yep, that's too big. I quite like Soprano to run a big race at a price. Just loves it here at Ascot. But there we are. Next is the Prince of Wales Stakes.
Would you be tenor or bass?
Base.
Would you? Hi, I'm
Second.
Nicholas.
Second base.
La Nicholas Lark. Right. Wednesday 8C when we need him.
Yeah.
Okay, nap of the day, Los Angeles. Everyone
Okay.
says he won't have enough pace for this.
Not everyone.
Everyone.
I heard Kevin Blake napping him all over the shop.
Who?
Kevin Blake, the best
Never heard of
tipster
him.
on ITV.
I've never heard of him.
got the first, second, and third in the Derby.
Yeah, he put his family horses in the threesome. Right, Los Angeles for me. I think continuous in there, set a strong gallop. I think they'll absolutely turn this into a stamina test. And he's not devoid of pace anyway. Los Angeles.
All right, so Los Angeles for you.
What do you
I
think?
see the fire. I think they're going to get their supplementary repaid.
Don't be silly. Now the Hunt Cup, I've been when Greek Order was 25-1,
Yeah.
I was going crazy about
There
him.
we are. You and I are together. Greek Order.
But actually, I think the favourite will hack up.
Okay.
My Cloud.
All right.
But Greek Order was a good price at 25s. He's not a good price at 8-10-1.
A lot of variance.
Kensington
for you today.
Palace Stakes, Nicholas.
Yes. I think possibly the dullest race of the week. I adore this place, but not a race I'm in love with, particularly since they put it up the straight mile. But they did put the other race round the round mile, to be fair.
Such a misery. Serialised for me, Jess Carrington and
Okay.
Shane Foley. 2 good runs in big field handicaps over in Ireland. I think everything is right about him. Love the straight mile because, of course, you get no trouble on the straight mile. You shouldn't do anyway if you're half a jockey.
I went for a big... I obviously think the Royal Runner has got a great chance. I've gone for one at a huge price here. Ambiente Amigo.
Right.
Elizabeth Gale to ride a Royal Ascot winner.
Well, that's not going to happen, is it?
Okay.
And also, the fact that you had to search so hard on my phone for your selection tells me that
I
you
just wanted
have
to see
no
what price
confidence
she was.
at all in your own belief. And the final one, actually, I really like, but it was always, I don't know about you, Nick, because you do blogs as well, but last night, as I opened the Racing Post edition to find that Pricewise had 3 of my horses in there, I thought, okay, well, I'm doomed for today.
And why are you doomed? Tom Siegel's probably...
Pricewise just never has winners, and it's just, you know your
Pricewise
stuff.
never has winners?
Never. But Havana Hurricane.
That's an outrageous thing to say.
Havana Hurricane was slowly away in the sprint, the 2-year-old race,
Yeah.
the Woodcut. At, is it still the Woodcote?
Yes, it is at
Yeah,
Epsom.
the Woodcote.
Havana Hurricane.
I just remember. I always got. Do you remember a horse called Clan Time?
Yeah.
Won the Woodcote, and
You are a bit older than me. Quite a bit older than me.
I think. But people
Quite
who
a
can
bit.
visually see this
No,
show
I know,
today
I know, but you
will
are.
question that.
No, I know.
They will
I know,
question that.
I know.
Because you are the oldest looking 50-year-old I've ever seen.
Good.
But anyway.
Very good. A long way to go for me until I get to the 5-0.
Havana Hurricane.
Havana Hurricane, surely. Havana.
You
Havana.
say Havana. I say Havana
We are
Hurricane.
going to call the whole thing off very quickly.
Not quickly enough. Havana Hurricane, I thought, ran really well after a slow start against Godolphin, winner at Epsom, comes back a furlong. As long as that horse gets out reasonably this time, I thought it had a good each-way chance of 8, 9, 10 to 1.
Okay.
Do you remember your selection in the last?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
I'm going for another American winner.
And it's called?
I'm going for another American winner in the last race, the Windsor Castle Stakes. George Weaver to do it again. Here's Lisa with more.
So bonjour from Ascot, where we've just run the last race and French Master has prevailed. I've got Angela Menz from On Track On Trend, an Australian racegoer and fashionista extraordinaire. I hate using that word, but it's a good word to describe you, no?
Thank you. I'll take it. You know what? I'll take it.
Angela has won many Fashions on the Field competitions, so knows what she's talking about when it comes to fashion. And what are your thoughts on day one of Royal Ascot fashion trends?
Look, I think people definitely brought it. They brought their best fashion today. If this is like the first day, I can't imagine what the rest is going to look like. But, I think there's been a few standout things for me. I think I noticed quite a bit of blue around and a very particular shade of blue.
We were talking about this. How do you you said mid-blue?
Well, it's not quite cornflower. It's not a dark blue. So I've just had to land on mid-blue because I'm not sure what you can call it, but it's quite distinct. Yeah. So I have certainly noticed that around a lot. Millinery, spectacular. Yes. But I've noticed quite a bit of bigger shapes as well this time.
Do you think it's because of the weather?
I think that plays a factor with the sun, and it's quite hot today. So having that extra shade, which we didn't plan for, but it seems like everyone else did.
We almost did, because I think we've left our bigger brims towards the end of the week when it gets even hotter still.
Yes, true. We did do some strategic outfit planning and organising in which days to wear it. But, I think people have really brought their fashion today.
So lastly, talk us through your outfit, because I know the backstory, but no one else knows the backstory.
So the backstory of this is, it is actually IKEA tablecloths and an IKEA cushion cover here. So the velvet. You find inspiration anywhere.
Yes.
IKEA is for everyone. So why not for the Royal enclosure?
And the hat?
And the hat is actually... So I went to Bunnings, which is a hardware store in Australia, and it's actually a pot. So if you imagine it upside down and in terracotta, you can kind of see where it came from. But I think, the vibe today was kind of clowny sort of vibes and quite fun. And
shall we talk about the fact that you've made the worst dress list for today, which is a fact she's very proud of, I might add.
So I'm thrilled. I did make the worst dressed list, kind of second place, although I was credited to Lisa Tan, my friend here. It is actually my own work. I'm so sorry, Lisa.
I'm sorry for you. I know that you're proud of your work. So
I'm quite thrilled, actually, because I think in all of this fashion, beautiful, questionable, whatever it is, to have people notice you, I think is, that's quite nice. So
absolutely.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you'll take the win regardless, no matter what. Talking about win, we're going to go and have a drink in the winner's bar because French Master just won. So I will see you again tomorrow.
Absolutely, and bonjour.
Well, thank you to Lisa. Matt, we've been doing a survey on Nick Luck Daily for our listeners and now viewers on YouTube to ask what they'd like to see or who they'd like to see more of. Lisa Tan, they'd like to see more fashion. It's true, this is true, okay? And who they'd like to see less of.
Yeah. When it came to visually seeing people, I'm not surprised Lisa came out above us. Are you?
Yeah. Now we're spreading into YouTube. Your popularity has suddenly taken a nosedive. I can't think why.
Well, look, there's one advantage about having me, Nicholas. One is that
I'm a bit sweaty. It's quite early for you to be perspiring.
Could I finish, please?
Yeah.
One is I'm probably the only guest on the Nick Luck Daily who has never put in an invoice.
We keep telling you
that's
to.
That's worth thinking about, and you pay for what you get. And in this case, you're paying absolutely nothing. So
Fair
yeah.
point. Right.
No.
we were talking about Tough Critic.
Yeah,
of course. Who's
well,
my
we weren't actually, but we wanted to. But
we were before Lisa, Windsor Castle.
Unless you've edited it, the name wasn't there.
Has come from a new series that is working out surprisingly well to get horses here to Royal Ascot from Gulfstream Park. I've been finding out more from the Director of Racing and Public Affairs here at Ascot, Nick Smith, and the President of First Racing in America, Aidan Butler. The Royal Palm Series, both of whose winners are here at the Royal meeting this week. So Aidan, just tell us about the inspiration behind this.
So we were talking to some of the bigger owners in the States. That time of the year in the summer it's tough, there's a lot going on, and they had said there was a bit of a gap in the juvenile racing series, and I thought about it, and I thought, look, if we're going to do it, let's try and do it with a bit of class. And I approached Nick. Nick thought it was a terrible idea, obviously, as most other people. No, I'm joking. Nick thought it was a great idea, but you never know with these. You never know. I mean, turf racing in America, particularly at Gulfstream at that time of the year, isn't exactly well known. So well known for its quality. First year oversubscribed. It was something new and novel, and it seemed we had a good show out. So we saw how that went, and then we were lucky enough to have a winner. Crimson Advocate won, and then it's kind of gone leaps and bounds since then, and now the races are so oversubscribed. We're looking, I haven't told him yet, but I might need to see if there's another set of kind of, can we send them in the World Cups, because there's like 30 and 40 horses a clip trying to get into these races, both the boys and the girls.
This has worked better than any of us could have anticipated, hasn't it?
Yeah, and Aidan's sort of obviously a bit tongue-in-cheek, but let's be honest, whenever you launch one of these, if you like, winning the ins or wildcard schemes, you do it with slight nervousness, because there isn't a great record of success, certainly in this country, with these initiatives, although we are trying to build them. But this one just seems to have hit the sort of the right spot. It's 2-year-olds in America at that time of year, this trip just appeals. So we've got both horses coming this year, and we've seen them, Lenilou particularly impressive, going for the Queen Mary. We would like to expand on this with the 2-year-olds, I think. And we're trying to push for a race at Pimlico or something like that as well, which would be quite interesting.
Because of the timing, yeah.
Because of the timing, and if we can get both winners, then expansion kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It does, and there's a lovely little coda to this story, which is that Crimson Advocate, who won the Queen Mary out of this scheme, now shows up for John and Thady Gosden in a race over a mile with a right chance. They're not just whiz-banging out.
No, they're not. They They really aren't. And of course, Gabaldon was extremely impressive. It was nearly very impressive last year. We just got done on the line, which was a bit of a shame. But look, I think have we had 5 out of 6 qualifiers come?
5 out of 6 qualifiers come.
Incredible.
It really is. But we wish I had a Royal Ascot, but people are so in love with Royal Ascot and what it stands for, Nick, that I think, especially when the babies, the juveniles, you have a bit of success, and then your aspirations and your dreams are there, and I think that's what's working. People are seeing the success, seeing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have a runner at Royal Ascot, and we either need another. Any chance you can card a couple of extra days at Royal Ascot? We might be able to squeeze.
Yeah, that would be very hard to get through. We're supposed to be trimming the fixture list, not increasing it. Although maybe no.
Well,
I'll tell Chris Nichols 6 days.
6 days.
Well, the great thing is they're here again. It's a great initiative, gentlemen. Thanks so much. All the best.
Nick, appreciate it.
Cheers, Nick. Cheers. Have a great week.
Aidan Butler with Nick Smith. They're talking about the Royal Palm Series at Gulfstream, which has worked out so well. Now, what about yesterday's racing through the Timeform prism? Who is still the top-rated miler? Let's find out now from David Johnson, the Timeform flat editor.
As Dan outlined yesterday, it was very much the case of the milers coming to the fore and being the stars of day one at Royal Ascot. And we kicked off in the first race with the Queen Anne, and that was the chance for the older horses to show what they could do. And in truth, it's fair to say they've probably ended up fluffing their lines a little bit. Docklands ran out a shock winner. I think he was a 14-1 chance, having been a bit bigger than that earlier in the day. But the race was run at something of a steady pace. It doesn't look particularly solid form. Docklands had been beaten on all 7 starts in group company beforehand. But you do have to credit him with some improvement to do what he did. Cairo probably holds the form down a little bit in third. He'd never run to higher than a rating of 113 with Timeform before yesterday. I think you're going to end up crediting him with a rating of around 118 on what he did yesterday. So it does look a little bit muddling. Docklands probably going to be rated somewhere in the low 120s. And I think you'd still be able to take the view that Rosalien is the best of the older horse milers at the moment. I think he's still going to be rated in the high 120s or the mid 120s. And that would give him the edge against the older horses. But as we saw a little bit later in the afternoon in the St James's Palace, there's very much a new kid on the block. And it was a real demolition job from Field of Gold, who was so impressive. And he's been credited with a Timeform rating of 132p, which that is the highest that we've rated a winner of the St James's Palace since Field of Gold sire Kingman himself back in 2014. The form just looks rock solid. The field were well strung out. You've got the French Guineas winner, Henri Matisse, 3.5 lengths behind. You've then got another 3 3/4 lengths back to the 2000 Guineas winner, Ruling Court. He was probably a little bit below his best. He wasn't going with his usual fluency from quite a long way out. And obviously he had that strange preparation, having been prepared for the Derby. So maybe he can bounce back when they go back up in trip or when they go up in trip with him later in the season. But it was really all about what Field of Gold did. And he's very much shown himself to be the one to beat in the Sussex Stakes. It would be a big surprise if Rosalien and co could up their game to beat him there. And then hopefully we might see him over 1.25 miles, probably at York, later in the season.
All right, thanks to David. Interesting thoughts there, and I'm sure Richard Hannon will at least be pleased to hear where Rosalien still sits in the older milers pecking order for all his frustrations yesterday. Who's been back today? Let's head to Orlando in the Fitzdares trading room.
Hi Nick, after a great first day of Royal Ascot, we move on to day 2. Just the one Group 1 today, Prince of Wales Stakes. Favourite there, Los Angeles for Aidan O'Brien, 9-4. Second in the market, we have Anne Matt, 7-2. Those two met recently in the Tattersalls Gold Cup at the Curragh, with Los Angeles just getting the better of Anne Matt in a very gritty performance. Anne Matt will obviously be looking to overturn that today, but if you think Los Angeles will get the better, we're boosting him to win by a length or more. Was 3-1, now 7-2. That's our boost for that race. We'll be hoping that the bullet for us is Map of Stars, the Francis Gaffard horse from France, owned by Wathnan. A good second the other day in the Prix Gannet to Sozi. We'll be cheering him home in the trading office. We're expecting Los Angeles, probably quite a big bogey. Mr. Ryan Moore on board, who has got 4 rides, all of which are either first or second in the market. So likely there's lots of multis knocking about for him, a few lucky 15s, that sort of thing. So, yeah, we'll be cheering on the French Raiders in the office.
Thanks to Orlando. Thanks to all our guests today. Matt Chapman is here to put a ribbon around day 2.
A prism, a ribbon. It's a gorgeous show, this.
I know.
First, just before I do that, final question for you.
You've got your sort of semi-serious face on, as though you're going to ask me something vaguely profound.
No.
Okay.
Obviously not. But Sussex Stakes, would you be Rosalien or Field of Gold on the back of everything we've heard on the Magnificent Pod today?
Field of Gold.
Okay. And it's on the round mile, so you'll particularly enjoy that race.
I will. It'll be a compelling race on the Sussex Downs. But clearly John Gosden's got his eye now on the Juddmonte International. He's steering the owners away from the Eclipse, but he's throwing them the bone of the race that they've sponsored. So
compelling is an irritating word, like iconic. I don't like compelling.
Oh, I don't like iconic, but I'm fine with compelling.
No. Everything's iconic.
All right.
These days.
Absorbing.
Right. Los Angeles. Let's just leave it with that.
Los Angeles is your bet of the day, is it?
Oh, my bet of the year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You're massively strong on Los Angeles.
Massively strong on Los Angeles. In Aidan, we trust.
Okay.
Also, Ryan Moore and Buick hopefully do better today. Not much will be said because they're worldies, but at the end of the day, both of them had days they'd rather forget, I'd say, on Tuesday. So today they will return bigger and stronger, like the Nick Luck Daily.
Thank you very much. It's been a robust Nick Luck Daily today, and the contributions from everybody have been wonderful.
Really interesting.
Particularly Lisa, who will be back tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Who's the favourite?
Of course, absolutely. And I'm going to go for See the Fire.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to go and have a pint, which is usually what you do straight after.
Absolutely. Matthew, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's nice to see you sober this morning.
Yeah, glass of Paul Roger for me. But
I think we need to finish.
You can have a pint of super
It's time
tea.
to
We're
wrap it
done.
up.
We're out. We'll see you again tomorrow. That was Royal Ascot Day 2. You've been listening to Nick Luck Daily. This episode has been brought to you in association with Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis, by Total Performance Data, the world leader in thoroughbred performance technology, and by Fitzdares.